Hello from the Alley family. We are happy that you've decided to rent our Springdale camper, and just wanted to take a little bit of a walk around video to kind of show you guys where everything's located, some of the functionality, and so we'll get started. So this is where the propane tanks are located. You can see there's a on-off valve, just like a regular barbecue tank, for each one of the tanks. So the one on the passenger side here can be turned on just by opening this valve. Within here, there's a distribution valve that allows you to change tanks from the passenger tank to the driver's side tank or vice versa. Lever is located right down here. So that can be flipped under and around to switch from passenger to driver, or the other way around. The electric jack, which is shown in the video on how to hook up the truck with the load levelers and stabilizer bars. The jack can be activated up or down with this switch on the right hand side or the driver's side of the vehicle. This switch, all it does is turn on the light here to be able to see your hitch. On the driver's side of the vehicle, there is the red load levelers which go underneath the tires. There's also a video that we will share with you on how to utilize those. These load leveler bars, the actual Reese hitch that will slide into the 2-inch Reese hitch on a truck or SUV, along with a torpedo level. So generally with a torpedo level, I will level the trailer by setting that usually in the man door where you enter the side of the camper on the passenger side, and then I'll have somebody watch that while I slowly back up the camper until I get just a little bit over my center point where it's level, and then I'll stick my wedges underneath. So that's also shown in the video. So this is where the freshwater and city water connections are. The difference is the tank that is within the RV or within the travel trailer can be filled up. If you're staying at a state park or something where they don't have full hookup, meaning they don't have pressurized water for you to use, you can, at each campsite, you can pull up to the usually at the entrance of the campground, usually there's a water hookup where you can fill up the tank. Underneath, there is you can see the freshwater tank here. There is a little piece of hose, so you have to cap that. So the cap is located in the rear of the RV, the travel trailer. There's a little white cap in there, which I'll show you in a second. That little white cap just screws onto the end of this black fitting, and that will plug the tank. So then you can go and come in here and you can fill the tank using some of the garden hoses that are in the rear of the travel trailer in a black tote, which we'll see here in a second. If you are camping at a site with full hookup, meaning they've got sewage and pressurized water at each site, you can just hook up the city water connection with one of the freshwater garden hoses that we have in the back. We would really like it if you use there's a brass pressure surge connector that goes in between the garden hose and this connection, which just helps from the pressurized water that you're hooking up not to over pressurize what the camper's able to handle. So that's just a little brass device that just fits in between this fitting and the garden hose. So on the side of the camper here, we've got the electrical hookup. So it's got a 30 amp plug on there. This will just pull out of here and you just kind of stuff it back in when you're finished. So this will plug into the typically there's a breaker box at the backside of a campground, whether it be a state park or a full hookup KOA or something like that. So the hose will come through here, and then once you're done, you just pull this little cute trap door down to close the whole thing up so no critters get in there. There's a utility shower on the side here, which the keys provided will access. Essentially all that does is it's just like a little remote wand, so there's a hot and cold in there. We don't hardly ever use it, but it may work good if you're trying to rinse chlorine off of you or lake water or something. So this is where the sewage gets hooked up on the side of this camper. If you got full hookup, the hose for the sewage, whether you're dumping or full hookup, is located within the bumper, so you can access it from either side of the travel trailer. All you do is pull this plug off. You just stick your finger in there and pull it off. It'll come right out, and then you hook it up here. Basically both of these valves are closed. This is going to be the black tank where solids are going to go. So this is all of the materials that are going to get flushed down the toilet. The gray tank here is going to be the shower, and anything that you wash in the sink will come into the gray water. So when you go to dump this, like the instructional video says, you're going to want to do the black tank first, so you get your hose and everything hooked up. And then you're going to pull your black open first so that any solids come out first, and then they'll kind of get washed out by the gray water. All of that should be covered in the video. Okay, so this is where you can actually access the hose. This is the sewage hose, so I recommend that when you are handling the sewage hose, because sometimes it can get a little gross. Be as careful as possible with it, but ultimately it handles sewage, so it can be gross. Within the rear passenger side compartment, there is a sewage hookup tote. So there's rubber gloves in there, there's hand sanitizer, there's some connections in case you're doing full hookup or dumping at the campsite. There's also some random tools. There's a lantern. There's some like fun little lights that you can hook up to the awning. This is a stand for the barbecue grill, and then the barbecue grill itself. The door to this compartment is just barely not big enough, so you have to take the lid off. The lid's just kind of sitting on top of there. So once you take the lid off, there's a couple of pins that you just pop in for the lid to operate correctly. And then this operates off of these little green tanks here. Okay, so typically there is a tote that sits in here, which is this black tote here. Okay, so this black tote here has a little like outdoor garbage thing that you can put a little garbage bag in. It's got 3 different garden hoses in here for different length hookups that you may need. They are for fresh water only. The white cap that we were talking about to plug the tank on the bottom of the camper is in here, along with the pressure regulator for the fresh water. So this will screw into the side of the camper, and the garden hose will screw in here, basically preventing the city water connection from overpressurizing the internals of the camper. So there's also some stuff in here for a clothesline, an extension cord if you needed to run something outside for an extension cord. There's some extra garden hose gaskets in there in case you have a little bit of a leak or something. So that pretty much covers everything in this compartment here. There's an instructional video on how to use the stabilizing jacks. They are not intended at all to lift the camper, but more just put pressure on the front and all 4 corners of the camper so that when you walk around in the camper it doesn't jiggle. Within this black tote, again, this is on the very front of the camper on the passenger side. This black tote has a whole bunch of 2x4s cut to 1 foot length, which I generally will arrange in like a log cabin fashion, a couple of layers high, so that it gets this jack up off of the ground. Ultimately, if these jacks are extended all the way out, they don't do as good of a job, so that's why I use those little 2x4s, and I just kind of build up a little platform here so that the jack doesn't have to get extended out nearly as far. So on top of this black tote, there is a little wrench to operate the stabilizers manually, and then there's also socket adapter in case you want to bring a drill to operate it. Please do not use an impact and go crazy raising these stabilizers, because it'll tear up the Acme threads. Okay. A couple of key features from within the camper that I wanted to show you. Pretty much everything should be stocked. You shouldn't need it, but the breaker box is located down here. So this contains all of the fuses for the DC power as well as breakers. You shouldn't need any of these, but if you happen to blow a breaker or something, they're located here. And then these are the fuses for the DC side. Okay, if you are hooking up to full hookup, so that's a campsite that has basically has sewage and electric and water connections, there is no need to turn this pump on at all. Okay, each one of these, if you click on the battery, will give you an indicator level as to how high the battery is, how full the fresh water tank is, black tank, and gray tanks. Okay, so when you press this button, it'll illuminate and it'll say, oh, the gray tank is all the way full. If something like that should occur, either you need to take this to the dumping station and dump it, or you need to stop using the gray water systems, which are controlled by the tank and the sink, the bathroom sink, or the shower. But the toilet is what operates out of the black tank. So water heater, typically if you're doing full hookup or you have electric hookup, you would use electric. So you can turn that into the on position, or if you're going to use gas because you don't have any electric hookups, you can typically use this. But I don't think I've ever used the gas hookup on the water heater. Oven does require a pilot light to be lit. So essentially you have to turn this on, and then there's a pilot at the very back that you have to light with a long lighter. We don't ever cook in the oven at all because it's tiny, but we do use the stovetop. These stovetops do require a lighter to light them, so there's a little lighter included here that you can use to light those. Okay, so the refrigerator and freezer can either be operated off of gas or electricity. So we'll operate it off of propane gas while we're traveling, because we like to put our food and beer or whatever into the refrigerator cooler, and we'll turn it into gas mode, which is, as you can see, the outward mode here. So that's gas. And then to turn the refrigerator on, you have to press this in. So I will warn you, if you're running the refrigerator in gas mode, typically you have to start this thing several times, because it takes a minute for the gas to make it up to the refrigerator before it'll actually light the pilot light. DVD player and remotes are up here next to the TV. This is a thermostat on the wall for the furnace. If you're running the heater, this does not run the air conditioner. The air conditioner is operated off of this ceiling unit here, where you can control the temperature and fan speed. This is the bathroom. Not a whole lot fancy going on here. There is a fan and a vent if you're taking a shower in here, which generally we don't, unless the shower house at a campground's super busy, because this shower is only made for really little people. But anyway, you can open this up just by opening this. I would absolutely caution you, if you go down the road with this open, it will definitely break it. So let's just try to avoid that conversation if we can. That'd be great. Nothing special about the bunk beds. You can access the rear storage compartment where the grill and stuff is from underneath this mattress. There's storage underneath both of these benches, and then ultimately there's posts that go into these little sockets here that the table will lift up under. We generally don't travel with the table in the up position because they can get loose and wobbly, and we don't really want that, so we just throw the legs underneath here, and then store the table in the traveling position. These are the backrests, obviously, for the seats. This couch will convert for very tiny persons, so you kind of just lift up on the front of it and it'll lay totally flat, so somebody really little could sleep there. This is the master bedroom, where the where there will be linens provided for the master bedroom, along with some towels and stuff for you guys to use.